Hi everybody, welcome to All Games New and Old. I'm David Rodriguez.
I'm Hillary Rodriguez.
And we are finishing up our top 50 games of all time. This is numbers 10 through 1. We finally got there. I'm very excited to see how much crossover we have.
Yeah. And we don't know each other's lists, so we don't really, we have ideas, but we don't know for sure what's on our top 10.
Yeah, so everyone just open Amazon while you listen to this and just click add to cart every game we say and you'll be happy and poor. No, but these are our top 10, so these are all fantastic games. Okay, so my number 10 is Marvel Champions, the card game. I held off buying this for a long time because I put a lot of money into Marvel Legendary, and I was very afraid that this game would possibly replace it because I'd heard so many good things about it, and I didn't want to replace something that I spent a lot of money on, to be honest with you. I don't care if it's better. I didn't want to do it. But it is a very different game, despite the theme being very similar. But I really dig it. I've just played with the decks they recommend out of the box. I haven't gone and made my own deck. And what's cool is I don't feel like you need to too much, unlike the Vampire expandable card game. They're great right out of the box. And the scenarios are cool. I like that you have to flip to your alter ego side and deal with weird alter ego stuff. It makes perfect sense, and the bad guys don't attack you, because why is Rhino going after Peter Parker? Probably wouldn't be. It's real cool. It's it's not throwing a strong story at you, but I feel like one is built as you play. Really like it. The characters all play differently. Man, it's a good game, and it's much like the Arkham Horror Living card game. So expensive if you start adding up all the expansions. Don't do that. Just buy them and don't think about it. That's your best bet, and you'll be a happier person. That's my number 10, Marvel Champions, the living card game.
My number 10 is Horrified. You're going around being villager... Are you villagers or investigators? I don't remember.
I mean, kind of both. You're like villagers with skills.
I think that one... Yeah, you're different characters from the village, and you're trying to defeat the different universal monsters. You can have 2 to 4 monsters depending on the difficulty level that you want. We've just been playing with 2 monsters, and there's been a few times where we've kind of barely got by there. We could probably bump it up to 3 monsters, I think. But,
oh yeah, for sure.
I'm kind of scared to try 4. But it's just a fun, laid-back game, and it's like, we like true crime. I actually not a horror fan, but I do like the classic Universal monsters. So that is just kind of a fun co-op game.
Yeah, the nice thing about those monsters is like everyone's at least heard of them. I don't know if I've even watched any of like the classic horror Universal horror movies specifically. I probably have, but I don't remember. But everyone knows who Dracula is. Everyone knows who they know. So great. My number 9 is Dwellings of Eldervale. This is a really great competitive worker placement game. You're going to pick your fantasy faction. There's a bunch in the box. I don't remember how many, but there's a lot. And they're each tied to like a certain type of magic. The only real rule is like 2 people can't pick the same type of magic. But they're neat. All the different factions controlled differently. You're going to be sending your workers out, and sometimes you're going to turn them into dwellings so that they help you score points. There's big monsters rampaging across the board that you have to deal with. You could possibly get them under your control. If you went all in on the Kickstarter, you have the bases that make noises. It's totally unnecessary. Most of them sound the same. I'll never play without it if I can avoid it.
Our 6-year-old loves it.
And so does the 44-year-old. So, but it's really cool. I just dig it. It's one of those games where it's like, I backed it being like, please be as good as this looks. Please don't make me have gone all in on this game and have it not be great. But it is great. I really, really love Dwellings of Eldervale. It's my number 9.
My number 9 is a game I'm not sure if it's around anymore. It's Dice Masters.
Theoretically, there's more things coming, and it's theoretically coming for a while, so who knows.
But it's there's so many different sets out there. How well you can get a hold of them, I don't know. We have a lot of the sets ourselves. But it's just, I have so much fun with that. I'm not normally someone that likes collectible stuff, but we just kind of went all in and just got the big boxes and just got most of the items that we could. It's, it's dice rolling, it's just head-to-head competitive, but there's some strategy to it, there's some thinking, it's not just rolling a dice and seeing what you get. And I have so much fun every time we play it. So.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think there's DC sets, there's Marvel sets, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Yu-Gi-Oh!, D&D, WWE. That might be it. I don't know, but there's a lot. And you can mix and match them all you want to.
Yeah.
It's cool. All right. My number 8 is Starship Samurai. This is a game that takes place in it's basically like Gundam the game. You are, like, the Emperor has died, is a very beloved Emperor, but now you're part of a clan that's trying to rise to prominence in the galaxy, and you're going to do that by getting other clans under your sway, and part of what you're going to do, too, is go out into space, try to take on planets with your big mechs and your ships, and try to kick everyone else's butt. It's great. I'm bad at it. She lapped me on the victory point track. But I don't care. I still love it, and I just want to play and, like, figure out how to, I don't know, at least not let her lap me. That's embarrassing. It's like when I was in track in high school, and, like, I took so long that, like, they did the girls' racers and they were passing me. It was weird. Anyway, that's quite a story. That's another time. That's a different YouTube video. Anyway, the point is, it's such a cool game. The minis are neat. The art's beautiful. I want it. It had one expansion. It probably won't have more, but if it had more, I'd buy them. Plaid hat. I'd buy them. I'm not the only one, I'm sure. Make them for me. Okay, that's my number 8, Starship Samurai.
My number 8 is Quirky Circuits. This is a new game to us. We just played it this past weekend, but I had so much fun. I can't wait to play it more, and we played a lot of, it's a short game. The components are good. I'm sure we're going to do a review on it, so I'm not going to go too far into it. We actually found out about it because the designer of the game commented on was it a review or post?
I think it was just a post that I liked. A couple of other games, and they said they were.
But yeah, they were especially proud of this, and so we're like, okay, sure, we'll try it, and I love it. Like, I want to play more and more of it. So.
Okay, my number 7 is Summoner Wars 2nd Edition. We've done a review of that. It's awesome. Asymmetrical, head-to-head, card-based battles. Kind of like a miniatures game, kind of not. There's a lot to learn about how the different factions play. The one that we said was the most powerful, I've had a couple comments saying that they think it's actually the least powerful once the other, once you know how to get around their stuff with the other factions. So I'm going to see if we ever get to that point. I still think they're really tough. But it's a great game. I'm so excited that there will be expansions coming, and they can do that for infinity, and I'll be thrilled about it. So that's my number 7, Summoner Wars 2nd Edition.
My number 7 is Villainous. I love Disney. I like all the villains. It's such a fun game, and I love that each villain plays completely different. If you can't understand how to work one of the villains, try one of the other ones. They play so differently that, like, there'll be a villain that will work for you, and whether it works better for you than the villain the other person's playing, you have to see. But, like, there'll be a villain that will work for you, and it's such a fun game. I really like the little standees that represent the villains. They don't look like the villains, but they have elements in it that bring in the villain. Like, the Captain Hook has his hat and the feather and a hook. But other than that, and then the coloring. But it's such a fun game, and I really enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, I didn't mention those pieces when I talked about it, but they are gorgeous.
Yeah.
And actually, the art's really gorgeous too. It's not just screencaps from the movie. Like, someone went through and did new art for all of them, and it's fantastic. Super well done. My number 6 is Bullet, or perhaps Bullet Heart. I'm not sure. But they're coming out with Bullet Star, so at some point we have to start saying the thing at the end of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it Bullet Heart for now. Bullet Heart, it's great. You can play it cooperatively or competitively. It's, a timed thing where you're putting out these tokens that represent the bullets that your enemies are shooting at you. You're trying to clear those out and send them over to your opponent. Every character plays so incredibly differently, and you wouldn't think it'd be possible with a game that seems like it should be very simple, but it's really awesome. Everyone is like a different puzzle that you're trying to figure out. I love playing with the soundtrack because it ratchets up the tension. The tension's crazy in this game. Like, it could be really crazy, but I absolutely love it. I am so glad that I bought in on that one. I just want to... It's another game where I'm so excited about everything that they're coming out with in the future that... getting jazzed about this. I can't play. All right, so Bullet or Bullet Heart, however you want to call it, that's my number 6.
Right. My number 6 is Viticulture. I really enjoy I typically not a work replacement game. Like, I like them okay, but for some reason this one just really clicks with me, and I really enjoy it. There is a little bit of luck. There was one game where I could not manage to get any white grapes, so that really hindered me in order to do anything in the game, or a lot of stuff in the game. But I still really like the game. I have fun every time we play it, and like I said, we kind of add our own little like backstories to the mom and pops, and it just kind of makes us laugh at the game a little bit more. But I really enjoy the game a lot.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an evergreen title for us. I don't think that's ever leaving our collection. I think it's one we'll probably always go back to, at least on occasion, for sure.
And I think it's a good game for people that are still kind of new to gaming, and and new to working placement, because it's a very easy game to learn, and there's not a lot of like backstabbing that can happen in games, so it's a pretty laid back game. Yeah,
definitely. My number 5 is Quirky Circuits. Man, I saw that game when it came out. At that point, I wasn't paying too much attention to the designer. And honestly, I was like, I don't know, it looks for me. It's got some kind of goofy cartoon cat on it. And like, what's this first mission? We're picking up dust bunnies? That doesn't sound cool. Whatever. I bought it because of the designer, Nikki Valens, who designed some other games that I really like. And wow, that was a good buy.
Yeah.
Such a good buy. It's so dang good. And trying to collectively program something when you cannot talk to each other, you have a vague idea of what might be put down based on the backings of the cards they put down, but you don't really know. It's awesome. And when you make a goofy mistake, like if you drive a bee into a tree when you had a perfectly clear
beep
shot... Beep boop. Yeah, they recommend you say beep boop instead of trying to say other things. It could be frustrating if this game is long, but it's not. It's short, and so even the mistakes are just freaking funny.
Yeah.
They're hilarious. I don't know if I've laughed so hard during a game ever, including games that are meant to be funny. It's just so dang good. And there's still one of the little robots we haven't played with yet, so... There's still more for us to explore. And there's so many scenarios in the book, which is a super nicely produced book, that, wow. I mean...
We'll review it.
We'll review it. There's a lot. There's a lot to say. And I am going to... I kind of want to rant because it's such a good game. I want to talk about it. But that's my number 5, Quirky Circuits.
My number 5 is a classic. It's Pandemic.
Wow, way up there.
Yeah, it's a game where, when I was looking at the list, I'm like, what are some of the games that, like, if someone asks, do I want to play this, am I likely to say no? And that's one I will almost always say yes to playing. And it's just, I really enjoy it. For some reason, it is a game that just clicks with us. And so we normally, there's only been a handful just a couple times that we've lost the game. And I know that's not always true with people, but for some reason, for us, it just clicks. So I really enjoy the game a lot. And even the expansions, we have the Epidemic one that I enjoy. So I actually really want to try the Legacy. We haven't tried that.
I do too. I'm glad you said that. Gives me the go ahead. No, but it's the something with Legacy is you have to play like so many games in a row. But like I think it might be worth it for that one especially. It's a great game because, for one, it's not really complicated. There's a lot of thought that you have to do, but it's not like the rules aren't hard.
Yeah.
And then the theme also is something that, even before this year, everybody understands that.
Yeah.
You know, like if I was trying to present that, I don't know if I could get my mom to play any game ever, but if I was going to, I'm much more likely to get her to play this than something when you're blasting aliens or something. Mm-hmm. To at least be like, oh yeah, doctors and stopping diseases, I get that. It's great. It's a great entry-level game, and it's great even when you're not entry-level anymore. So, totally get it. All right. My number 4 is Dice Masters. Pick your flavor. There's so many to choose from. We don't get involved. I don't even know if there is a tournament scene here, honestly. We've just gotten the sets, and then usually what we'll do is we'll each pick a different set to make our list, I guess, or whatever, from, and then we'll just play against each other. You don't have to do that. You can mix and match them to your heart's content, whatever you want to do, but that's just how we play.
Well, and a lot of the sets play off of each other, so you don't want to mix and match too many of the sets together. So, like, normally, like he'll have, like, his Marvel set, and I'll have a DC set, and we just pick from that. We've also played it where we just take one set, and then we take turns picking the players. Yeah. And actually those ones are one of my favorite times playing. I
know we did that, especially with the WWE set.
Yeah.
And that was a really fun way to do it, for sure. But yeah, it's I think it's fun to do it that way. Also, like, it's weird, because for a while I was listening to a podcast that was about Dice Masters, but I decided I didn't want to hear how everyone came up with, like, the most awesome strategy. I wanted to figure that out on my own, but they were talking about the tournament scene and how, like, one of the sets, the Amazing Spider-Man set, was just not competitive with anything else. That's the only one I can beat her in, almost for sure. That's, like, my set. I can do it. And I understand that there are cards in other sets that do the same thing and they cost less to put out. I don't care. For some reason, I can do it with the Amazing Spider-Man set. That's, like... That's my jam, to the point where it's like, well, I better play something else because I want her to keep playing games with me. But no, if you do it that way, what's cool is each set does have its different quirks. Like, even if you're, like, doing this Batman set versus that Batman set, there's different quirks. Like, I can't remember, I think it might be the World's Finest set that you play, where there's all kinds of weird tricksy stuff that, like, it boggles my brain trying to remember what I have to do to stop you from getting all this crazy stuff off. It's so good. It's so good, and I don't know how they made it so good when it's just, like, rolling some dice with, like, weird stuff on the sides, but it's fantastic. Absolutely love it. That's my number 4, Dice Masters.
My number 4 is Big Book of Madness. I love it. It is such a hard game, but I love it. I know every time we play it, I'm like, we're gonna lose. We're just going to lose, but let's see how we're going to lose.
Very true.
What turn are we going to lose at? And it's just, but I enjoy it so much, and we've beaten it once, and I got so excited, and I'm like, and so now that I'm like, okay, we did it, it can be done, and so I want to play it more and more so that we can beat it again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the time we beat it, we were in a hotel room at Disneyland, because we're doing a Disney vacation, and I'm telling you, when we beat it, that room was the happiest place on earth. It wasn't Disneyland. It's so hard, but it is very good. I agree. All right, we're getting to the top 3. This is where it gets real down here. My number 3, Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition. I've done a review of it. It's my first review, I believe, on this here channel. So good. App-driven. Cthulhu Mythos. Very, very intensely narrative, I would say. So many different scenarios you can do. There's lots of expansions. They have announced that they are not coming out with any more expansions for the game. They have not said anything about not supporting the app, which I understand is maybe one of the fears about app-based games. I'm not sure what happens then. But, man, it's good. You want a cool Cthulhu story? They tell you in the app how long each
scenario
is going to take, so just add like an hour to it. Yeah. But regardless, good. No, I'm sorry. Great. Fantastic, spooky game. That's my number 3, Mansions of Madness.
My number 3 is Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion.
Wow. It's real up there.
It's really up there. I enjoy it so much, and like I keep wanting to play it, but it's just hard to find the time to play it. But I really enjoyed doing the characters and having the board, and trying to figure out leveling up, upgrading them, and it's expanding on the map. I like the story that's going on in it, so I'm really excited about it, and like I want to play the big one and kind of compare it. So
I do too. I feel you guys can't see this. If we go this direction, not into your face, sorry about that, there's a lot of just like boxes and junk over here that we need to deal with. I want to have a table there where we can just set up a big game like that and leave it set up so we can leave and come back to it, because those games are so big and long and we have kids and it makes it hard. But if we could do that, we'd be ready for that Gloomhaven.
Yeah, I
want to play it too. That's a great. It's been so high up on the BGG top 100. I feel like I almost don't have to talk about it, but look, it's great. Okay, it just is. It's great. All right, my number 2, Legendary, a Marvel deck building game. I love this game. I don't want to talk about how much money I spent on it, but I have almost all the expansions. I don't have the villains ones, and I don't have the ones that are screen grabs from the movies. And then there's a new one that has Inhumans that I don't have. But it's so fantastic. It's so good. I can't even say if it's easy or hard, because it depends entirely on the heroes you pick, the mastermind, the scheme. All those things are factors in how difficult things are. Mm-hmm. We used to always randomize it, but we've also found that as more and more expansions have come out, if you do it fully random, you very likely are going to end up with a team that can't work with each other that well. So we've shifted from that and kind of doing themed games. We played through.
We've recreated all the movies.
Oh yeah, we recreated all the movies. Certain storylines, we did the Dark Phoenix Saga, picking only X-Men characters that were in the Dark Phoenix Saga. Remember I mentioned that she really, really stopped me in Starship Samurai? That's nothing. That is nothing compared to the stomping we received. I don't even know. Unless you really specifically tailor your team to deal with Dark Phoenix, I don't know if it's possible. But either way, it was awesome to do. And it's awesome to be like, oh yeah, this movie, let's do that, or this storyline, or let's do this quirky theme to it. I did a team that everyone had to have been a villain before. I don't remember who we even fought against, but I'm pretty sure we lost. Really, really awesome. I would just get it. Go to Amazon now, I'm telling you. It's fantastic. Get the base set. Whatever expansions you like. It's infinite deck building games. I mean, not literally infinite, but it might as well be. You can't play all of them in your lifetime with all the combinations. Yeah. And they all feel different just depending on the things you mix and match. So good. Legendary. I will always play Legendary. That's my number 2. Marvel deck building game, not Legendary, something else, which might also be good. I'm talking about Marvel. Gosh.
All right. My number 2 is the Mansions of Madness second edition.
Interesting.
I think it's such a fun game, and I love that it has the living board where you put out tiles and it changes depending on what you're doing. One of my actually favorite things about this game is the app integration, and that you can save the game. Mm-hmm. With us having kids, we can't always play a 3-hour game, but we can play an hour, and so we can play those longer scenarios and then just save. We do have to, do a little bit because the app doesn't save quite everything, but we just take a couple pictures of where we're at on the board, and we put what we've collected so far in a baggie, and then we're able to put it away and then bring it back out later and finish that scenario. And I love that we can do that. So it's just such a fun game, and like I always want to play it.
Yeah, it's great. I was almost bummed when I heard that we're going to come out with more expansions, but I'm like, we still have so many we need to do. And honestly, it's not always exactly the same every time, so I don't mind playing the old ones again. We have plenty of content. There's plenty of content.
So one of the fun things that I'm sure it's just coincidence, but one of the things that I love about some of the games we've played is that some of the stuff that has come up, like, had to do with the character. So, like, when we did our demo game of it at PAX, like, there's a guy that was playing a little old lady, and she happened to find the curio with all the little trinkets in it. We played in our game with our friends, and one of the guys was a priest, and he found the Holy Bible and the Holy Water, and like he kept finding the stuff that a priest would have, and just the fact that happened so many times, it makes the game so much more fun.
Yeah, I think it is random, but it somehow worked out. It was so cool. I think that old lady was looking through the curio cabinet with like a night haunt in the room with her.
Yeah,
like there's some big winged.
She's like, I'm just gonna ignore that creature. Like,
she's like, hold on, monster. There might be precious moments in this drawer. I don't know. That was cool. Yeah, you can come out with some like funny or just cool stories out of that game.
Yeah.
It's such a good, like, story-driven masterpiece, I'm going to call it. Okay,
all right, number one.
Excuse me. Our number one. My number one of all time so far today is Arkham Horror 3rd Edition. Arkham Horror 2nd Edition sat in that spot for a very long time. And I know some people like 2nd better than 3rd. I really, really like 3rd Edition to the point where it actually knocked Arkham Horror way further back down the list. I don't think it made my top 50, even though I would still I'd be happy to play it anytime. It's still a great game. But if I'm going to pick one, it's going to be 3rd Edition. It's still kind of a table hog, but it's much more compact than the previous one is. I like the fact that the expansions, because the board is modular, like you have certain sections of the city and then streets or something that connect them, you can buy the expansions and it doesn't mean you have an entire second board that you somehow have to fit somewhere, because the original Arkham Horror 2nd Edition took up most of any reasonable sized table anyway. This one can keep its same size, and it's got all kinds of cool like story things that come up. I like/hate the freaking headline things because they're almost always bad, but they're kind of cool to read. I like all the characters. And weirdly, even though we're talking about the number 1 and number 3 spot, I had to really think about whether or not I like this better than Mansions of Madness, because theme-wise, they're very similar, and they're both fantastic, fantastic games. And I think the reason why this still holds that spot for me is Mansions of Madness I feel, leans more on its narrative aspect than on its gameplay, which is not to say the gameplay is bad. It's not at all. It's really good. But I feel like everything in the gameplay is more purely advancing the story to an extent, which is a good thing. It's not. I feel like I'm complaining about it, and I'm not. It's all good. To me, Arkham Horror is the perfect blending of the narrative aspect and like the crunchy like gameplay, trying to figure out the puzzle thing. Other people might disagree that it's the perfect blend, but to me, it's great. It kind of really scratches both itches at once. Not only am I getting an awesome, incredible story, I'm also getting the thing where it's like, okay, but we have to figure out how we are going to shut down this portal, and we have to move over here to do this, and we have to go over here to do that, and both those games are so dang good. It's almost hard. It's almost painful to like compare, because I feel like I have to say something negative about it, but it's not negative.
If you don't like app-based games, then Arkham Horror 3rd Edition is definitely the way to go.
For sure.
If you don't mind that based, and if you're a little bit more storyline based, then Mansions of Madness is the way to go. I like that. Like one of the things I forgot to mention with the Mansions of Madness is that like they'll actually have like puzzles within the app that I love. Like like there's one that's similar to like Mastermind game. There's one that's similar to like the parking car game where you have to get the thing out in so many turns. And like I think that's really fun that they found a way to integrate that with the board game.
That's true. So yeah, I mean it's it's my number one. Honestly, those top three on a given day, that could shift around just depending on how I'm feeling. But yeah, I at some point I'll do a review of this. So spoiler alert, it's going to be a high score unless something real weird happens between now and then. But I love it. Arkham Horror I will recommend to anybody. If people don't like it, that's cool. I don't understand you. No, it's cool, obviously. But like, I do vastly prefer its second edition, which I already super loved. So it's taken the crown or actually, what am I? I'm wearing a wrestling shirt. It's taking the championship title belt, and it's never gonna let it go. Go ahead.
All right. My number one is Legendary, the Marvel version. I love that game. I will play it nonstop if I can. I don't get tired of it. I think we've played it back to back like 2 or 3 times, and I still want to play more. We just didn't have the time.
Right.
It's so fun. Especially with all the expansions, there's so many different options, and if you like superheroes at all, it's such a fun game, and it's so thematic. You can see the stuff happening in your head, and the varying levels of difficulty, just based off of changing a couple things, can change the difference so much. There's a few like masterminds and schemes that are so incredibly difficult. We've started taking notes of okay, if we're doing this, do not use this scheme. Because it's so hard to be able to accomplish what you need to, but it's such a fun game, and again, a lot of my top, 5-10 list today has just been, if someone asks me if I'll play it, do I want to play it, and that's definitely a game that I will always say yes to.
Absolutely. I think I'm surprised that none of our top threes were in the same spot. Well, I'm not super surprised, I guess, but a little surprised that none of them were in the same spot. But still, a lot of similarities up there. I have to give a big shout out to the designer Nikki Valens for my list, because Nikki Valens now has spots 1, 3, and 5 in my top 5. Crazy, and I'm sitting within kind of arm's reach of another game from them that I haven't played, so that's gonna happen. I love Eric Lang. Great designer, but some of the stuff he's put out, I'm like, well, I don't know if that'll be for me or not, even though probably it would be, whatever. But Nikki Valens, can I just give you $200 and you just give me your next few games as they come out? That's fine. One
thing that I noticed with our list, and I'll be curious if you noticed anything, okay. Your list was a lot of worker placement driven.
Yeah, there's definitely
and deck building, where a lot of mine were Cthulhu. But I feel like a lot of mine are more Cthulhu and or co-op, and also difficulty games. I didn't really think about it, but as I'm looking through my list, I'm like, a lot of the games I like are ones that are going to be hard for us. They're co-op games, but they're going to be hard for us to win.
Yeah.
And I guess I like that challenge. So.
In my defense, though, my number 8 is Starship Samurai, which is going to be hard for me to win if I play against you. So it's kind of the same. Honestly, worker placement and deck building are probably my 2 favorite mechanics. I just like those.
Yeah.
I'm not theme is more important to me than mechanics are, but man, if you can marry a cool theme to one of those mechanics, I'm super on board. Although weirdly, my number 1's not either of those, so whatever. My number 2 is, though, so close enough. but yeah, I think I definitely have a tendency towards a lot of those games. But hey, that's how it is. So maybe that'll change by the next time we do our top 50 of all time, or maybe we'll do more than 50 sometime. Who knows? But I think that's it. I think we've wrapped it up pretty well. I'd love to hear if you like any of these games, or if you don't understand why we like them. I don't know if I can convince you, but I'll try if you want me to. That's fine. I'll do my best. We can do that whenever you want. Just message me. So if you have liked this video and the top 50 list in general, please hit like and subscribe and click the bell icon so you can know when we put out a video again. And gosh, I feel like we just accomplished something so big, it feels weird just doing a normal sign-off. But I guess we sort of have to. So I look forward to see you all around the table again at all games new and old.
Bye.
Yay, we did it. Oh, my butt. Oh, my butt.